that what's referred to as a window of opportunity? I think that's what they call a Bluetooth frame rail. Well, Mazda fans, we got us a 92 B2200 extended cab. For all you B-Series Mazda truck owners out there, be thankful if you live out of the Rust Belt. Alright folks, today we're going to have some fun with some sheet metal. This truck is almost ready to be put back on the road. However, this is the insulation for the carpeting. So I'm going to repair this floor. However, I'm going to use this opportunity to do some practice on making the race truck more racy. So the trick is to use trailer fenders and do what's called tubbing of the passenger footbox and the driver's footbox. So when you turn the wheel, the big tires don't rub back here in this little bump out for fender well clearance. So we're in effect making more room when the truck is turned to full lock for larger tires with the rims with the deeper offset, so they don't rub. So I picked these, somebody must have used these to do the same thing. I picked up these bottom half of a trailer fender, and I think if I plan strategically, I should be able to graft this into place and use it as a learning opportunity to do the race truck. So, the thing I dislike the most about doing rust repair on floorboards is disassembling the interior and pulling the carpet out and the seats and all that to get access to this. So that's what I need to do first before I start making sparks. So I'm going to jump to the interior and start taking it apart. Okay, so as you can see, I've got rust coming way out to over the top of the frame. It goes up to like 2/3 of the way up of the computer, and it comes back and it gets into the cab mount. So what I'm going to do is I've got a tension support. Can't see it because of the glare, I think. I don't know if that helps or makes it worse. But anyway, I've got the cab supported. So I can get in there and knock that cab mount out and then rebuild the floor section out of the thicker steel that's intended to retain the cab mount, and then I'm going to start chopping out the inner fender and all of the bad stuff out of the floor, and then we'll start going in the other direction. Easier said than done, but you got to start somewhere. Is that what's referred to as a window of opportunity? Alright folks, what I'm doing here is, if your cab mounts look like this, you can see the plate that had the studs in it that engaged with the holes down here in the frame mount. If it looks like this and it's completely gone, I looked up to buy the replacement thing of this, which would have been easy to do. Now I had to cut this whole cab mount out because of the obvious rust that was here, right? Knowing full well that I had to recreate it to attach the rest of the floor to. When I looked up the price of these things, I saw that they were around 180 bucks a piece, some a little less, some a little more. I'm like, wow, that's incredible. That's a lot of money. Is there an alternative solution? So what I'm doing is I'm adapting the Mazda frame. This will get welded. This has a 2-inch step flange in it, and that's going to sit in here. And then the cab mount that used to go here, I know you can't see the perspective in the camera, but this is almost the perfect height. It's directly in line with the height of where the factory cab mount used to be. So what that means is when I put this plate in, I have the reference surface is almost identical to the rest of the floor to integrate that as a repair patch panel. These are F250 urethane cab mounts, and this is what the lower half looks like. They have these nice metal sleeves that keeps the urethane bushing in the middle of the mount, and it also sticks through where it engages the frame, so it's going to keep the cab from trying to move around. And then the bottom half actually has a receiver to interlock with this, and it has a cup that fits over that 2-inch diameter step flange. You can see it has a counter bore in there. So when you tighten it down, you're sandwiching this new metal plate and the factory Mazda plate. The hole in it, the factory hole in the Mazda plate is actually small enough so the Ford flange on the lower half of the bushing will fit in there and still have plenty of engagement with the factory Mazda plate. How did I stumble across these? I have to say that, and be honest with you folks, I just did some eyeball engineering, searching around on Amazon, and they sell the whole kit. And it comes with more than enough to do a standard cab or an extended cab. It comes with the bolts, It's 8.8 hardware. The only thing it doesn't come with is the nuts, because these would thread up through the cab mount and into a captured nut inside the vehicle. And I'm going to have to, somewhere on the top side of this, of the plate that this is going to sit against, I'm going to have to weld a nut to that so the bolt can come up through the bottom as well. So that's what I'm up to, because I'm super cheap and I refused to spend almost $600 on 4 cab mounts. So I needed to come up with a solution. So what I'll do is put a link to the year, make, and model that these are intended for. I think it's 97 to 2003 Ford F-250, something like that. And the entire kit with all the hardware and more than enough bushings than I need for this project was less than $100. And it's urethane to boot, so I don't know. It looks like it's going to work for me. You let me know what you folks think. I'll show you the finished product when I get the top half of the actual cab support fabricated, and then I'll give you a picture of the finished floor, and I'll take a picture from underneath with the plate, the reinforcement plate, and the whole assembly in position. Alright, so I've got my cardboard aided design of my floor plan, some notes that I'm going to use to run on the bead roller. I'm going to cut this out on a piece of sheet metal, and then we'll go back and see if we can make something that resembles that and bring it in and start stitching it in. Alright folks, we're closing in on the finishing touches with the passenger side floor section repair. I got it in primer, I've got the seam sealer on. Just waiting for that polyurethane seam sealer to tack up so I can put the final coat of semi-gloss black, and then we're going to undercoat this because it gets pounded to death with the debris flying off the wheels. So this little section of the floor under and behind the passenger seat needed a quick patch panel, and there's the finished interior, again all in seam sealer, just waiting for it to dry so they can put some color on it, and that'll complete this side. So I'm in the middle of putting the wheel tubs on the driver's side. This did have a little bit of rust way down here where it made the transition from the vertical to the horizontal and where all the multiple layers of sheet metal were. However, the cab mount and everything on this side was completely intact, and as a matter of fact I've got some good strong metal to reattach the inner fender well here. So I didn't film any of this because you kind of watched me do the other side. I had a little tiny hole, you know, basically where your heels rest, working the pedals. That's getting patched. It's all ready to receive the metal, and the same with where the wheel tub is going to come in here. So I'll put up a picture, but the wheel tub width from the kick panel all the way over to the cut is 9 inches, and if it's 9 inches, when you push the clutch pedal down, it misses the wheel tub. So if you're going to do this on your own and you're maintaining the stock clutch pedal, that is going to get you the full functionality of that. So the other thing I had to do, similar to the other side but nowhere near as severe, is this little patch panel here that's in self-etching primer. And when this is all done, I'll put the seam sealer on everything. So the driver's side was in much better shape than the passenger side. I'm going to go ahead, everything is prepped. My mini wheel tub here is ready to go in, it's all trimmed. I radiused this corner to make more room for the clutch pedal, so that's something you might want to consider for yourselves as well. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright, I got the patch panel in by your heel for the clutch pedal and the brake pedal. Got the mini tub in, and got the tub done on the inside. Had to reach up a little higher and fix some of the rust that went up a little higher, but she's ready for some primer. So I'm going to throw the respirator on and blow some paint around. Hey folks, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe, the like button. You know what to do. Thanks again. See you in the next video.